Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a BlazeCast presentation. I'm your host, Blaze Inferno, and we're just checking out a game between mTw and Virtus.Pro. Now, this is taking place in the Western qualifier of the wildcard for the International 2, and we're just going to go. This was actually one of the early games. They do actually get matched up later in the tournament as well, interestingly enough, but this is just one of their early on games, and yeah, so we're going to jump into the cast here. Obviously, the draft starting off with the Darkseer and Lycan bands going out. Now, mTw does have first pick. That's why the Lycan band, which is considered one of the most overpowered, backdoor pushers and that kind of respect, heroes, is something they don't want to have to deal with. And mTw always picking up that Darkseer band. Synderen just doesn't want to have to deal with them. Thinks the Ion Shell is annoying and thinks it's just the team fight potential with the vacuum setting up AoE magic damage and the ultimate, just the Wall of Replica doing a lot of physical damage. Just really something he just personally hates to deal with. Nature Prophet, another dangerous pusher that Virtus.Pro might be looking toward, kind of showing that they're looking more towards a semi-carry style where they want to make sure that they get to later in the game. Nature Prophet is one of those heroes that either capitalizes on the fact the game's late by getting 600 GPM, or just pushes and pushes and forces them to not be able to get to the late game phase. Broodmother ban out on mTw's side, they're looking at a similar thing, but it's just mostly taking out those extremely irritating heroes that can really frustrate and shut down laning phases as well. So, along those lines, Virtus.Pro being a primarily Russian team, new specifically, they formed just shortly before this tournament happened, so they're not exactly as coordinated as they could be, but they're all extremely good players. NS, amazing support player, Kurokai, amazing everything player, just about. But the final ban was the Chen, which allowed Invoker to get picked up as a solo mid. Synderen does like to play that solo mid role, so he's probably going to be the one picking up the Invoker. And a number of ways he could roll it. He could do Quasvex, or he could still exhort, but VP taking up some extremely push-oriented heroes. You got Enchantress with her creeps and her heal, gank into a push, and then Leshrac with, once those creeps start taking the tower, Leshrac's Edict just wipes out that tower's health really, really quickly with that physical damage that affects it. So they're definitely going for a more early game-oriented strategy, and they just don't want to have to worry about, not like a Nature Prophet, Chen, anything like that. With the Chen band, the Enchantress is free to, pick up those creeps without having to worry about tug-of-warring back and forth with the Chen there for control of them. However, mTw goes with an Enigma pickup, and so that gives them some early game. It's hard to, go up against an Enigma in lane, based on the fact his Eidolons can just be microed to be very, very destructive, or he could do a jungle setup, which gives him a lot of flexibility with their lanes. In the end, though, big thing that he's known for is the Black Holes. Very, very powerful teamfight ultimate, and that's what they're going to be moving more towards the mid game. When he gets either BKB or Blink Dagger, he can really start shutting down enemy heroes with that disable. Got Windrunner, another great pickup, pretty much just designed to be very high utility, versatile. Can go, top suicide lane for mTw, or could just play a supportive role if you wanted to. Either way, looking for some big shackles coming out from either Kabap or F King Mad, probably going to pick him up. Along those lines, it's going to be the last pick for VP coming out. They've already shown that they kind of can do a side lane, quick tier 1, maybe even tier 2 tower kills, and they're kind of doing push setup. So they're going to pick someone to complement that, or go for more somebody who can really benefit from that gold, a semi-carry, or a initiator that could use a Blink Dagger or something along those lines. Generally speaking, you pick up some high item dependent hero or heroes to benefit from the fact that you're getting 2+200 gold just for taking down the tower. Beastmaster, interesting pickup. What they're going for there is he can do either a suicide lane with stacking ancients with his axes, or he can go for a mid for powerful rune control and that kind of thing. Most of this tournament so far, from what I've seen, he's been doing the top lane suicide, or in this case bottom lane suicide, where he can just ignore what's going on in the lane and still get a lot of farm from those ancients. But one way or another, however he decides to lane, he's going to have that powerful roar for a big disable ultimate, can take out Enigma from long range, or just stop Invoker from chain casting, that kind of stuff. A very obvious ban here coming out from mTw, the anti-mage. You got actually 3 high mana pool heroes for mid to late game, and if Anti-Mage is able to drain them all down, any one of them all down, that Mana Void can be extremely devastating, especially on the Invoker, who is so mana reliant in the first place. They got a Lone Druid ban. Pretty much don't want to have to deal with that. Him either running in the jungle or as a solo top. And common setup would be Enigma jungling with the Lone Druid soloing on the bot lane. And pretty much with that, they just don't want to have to deal with the solo druid with the bear, pretty much giving a 2v1 or 2v2 situation, based on just that bear micro and him being so strong in the early game aspect of it. So that's the carry that they're taking off. No carries have been picked up at this point, so assuming a semi-carry and carry role, most teams are still kind of playing the European style where they do push to farm, and they do a bit of gank to farm as well, and along those lines they are going to be gearing up for some carry aspect. Now, a couple that are still available, we got Morphling, is a very good, relatively early game carry that can still farm up pretty quickly to be very effective. They do have a couple different options, but it really depends on what supports they end up going with and what kind of laning setup they go with. But like I said, Virtus.Pro could definitely benefit from kind of an item-dependent hero, but right now they got their lanes pretty well established with Invoker running in the mid, and they got a jungle potential with the Enigma, and Windrunner can go where she pleases, so that's cool. Virtus.Pro, similar stuff with Enchantress, definitely going to be running on jungle. Probably not going to be counter jungling against the Enigma, but it's something that you can't count out because it is a possibility if you just want to thwart their early game aspect. Leshrac, either running a support Leshrac or as a solo mid, something along those lines. He's going to be powerful. Most likely you're going to see him in a side lane just because it's so much easier to take down the side lane towers without support from the opposing team being able to fortify it and support it. And so that's probably he's going to be on a side lane situation. Maybe tri lane. It's kind of hard to see from what they have selected right now. But Shadow Demon and Storm Spirit are the final bans. Pretty much just taking out heroes that they don't want to deal with. Long range initiation. Even though Storm Spirit's ultimate isn't very long range, he can still use his ball lightning over Enigma's black hole and cast his W on Enigma while he's flying overboard. And that's still technically a counter to Enigma that they do have to watch out for. Shadow Demon, on the other hand, just a powerful support with a lot of utility that they're not wanting to deal. Instead, they pick up the Earthshaker for mTw, which is great because, you know, once Enigma starts pulling, if he gets a good black hole off, he's going to be pulling them all in close together, and that's when an Echo Slam really starts to pay off, is when you get all those heroes grouped together. Not only do they all get stunned by his passive, but they all do that bonus damage as the slams echo together. Along those lines, he's also a very good support, setting up for the lane for whoever they decide to have as their kind of semi-carry. So that's definitely a really good pickup for them. I'm actually surprised that like a Tide Hunter hasn't been picked up just yet by either team, because that used to be just even a few weeks to a month ago. He used to be top tier in metagame, but it keeps on shifting along, and they keep on trying to do different stuff. They kind of know each other's style a little bit. They know NS is going to pick up the Lich or the Enchantress, and they're kind of trying to get a feel for what they can do to kind of overwhelm the opponent. Now this is an interesting pickup, the Tinker right here. He's a very farm dependent hero. He can carry with a sheep stick and a couple other items up his sleeve there, because his ultimate does reset the cooldowns on his abilities. And also he's a very mobile hero. He gets those boots of travels pretty quickly. If he does tri-lane, for example, or pseudo tri-lane, you can get him in like 8 minutes, and you literally just jump from lane to lane non-stop, uses March of the Machines, push it up, and get tons of farm. And what that enables them to do is stop the counter pushing of Enchantress and Leshrac pretty conveniently, and also it just allows them to have mobility all over the map, and a lot more map control for that matter, because every time he runs out, he just teleports back to the fountain with those boost travel and regens all his mana back up. And that just allows him to be a very high presence, using those long-range rockets, using the Mark Machines on top. And this is what I was thinking. Faceless Void, although he's kind of a hard carry for this metagame, when you get a good support on him like Lich, who also with his Chain Frost can do devastating damage in the ultimate if they're properly synergized together with the Chronosphere. But also, the big thing is he has a large amount of lane support that's really going to benefit that Faceless Void. His sacrifice denies and all that it's just going to be very beneficial. So I'm curious if they're going to run a Leshrac solo on like top lane with the Enchantress, and run a dual lane, and then run Beastmaster mid. That's a possibility, but based on their lane setup and how they know that they want to shut down that Tinker pretty easily, they actually might run like a dual lane mid with Faceless Void Lich and something like that. So we'll actually have to see what they end up deciding to do with that. As far as for mTw, it's a little bit clearer broadcast. What they're going to probably do is Invoker mid on Cinderin. They're going to have Enigma in the jungle, ganking for the bottom lane. And they're going to have Earthshaker and Tinker farming that up, whereas Windrunner will be suiciding top. And so yeah, Funky does pick up, Funzy does pick up the, I'm going to have to pause real quick. Alright, and the pause ends, but as I was saying, Funzy does pick up that Windrunner. They're actually going to go Santa on the Beastmaster, he's going to go bottom lane, just trying to go some basic regeneration items so that he can do enough axes to get that fast soul ring. Once he gets the soul ring up, all he's going to have to do is stand over here, and he can just throw his axes across at 51 seconds around that, stack the Ancients, and it does the mixed damage, so the physical damage aspect of it will damage the Ancients to take care of them. Interesting, they're not really grouping up together to like control the lanes, to prevent counter warding, stuff like that, but it's actually not too big a deal because Beastmaster doesn't need to ward in that area. Obviously it hasn't even picked him up, so he doesn't really need, as long as he kills these trees here, which he is taking care of very readily, he doesn't actually need to have too much vision in this area specifically to prevent those ganks, because he chops down the trees, see what's going on through here, and just get a little bit of vision just to see that gank action. So unless they're very, very clever about hiding in their positioning, he's going to be alright. Now they are actually, it looks like Leshrac is going to be going top lane, and support Enchantress going to be running that jungle. Along those lines, Kurokai on the Faceless Void, presumably dual laning with Lich. Lich is just going to deny bottom real quick, and then they're both going to go towards the middle lane and cover that. Cinderin blocking with the Invoker. And he hasn't actually selected a element yet. He's probably going to see what lane setup he's running before he jumps in and decides if he's going Quas or Exort first. Interestingly enough, Kabop does go top with the Earthshaker. He's got smoke already, but he's going to go up against a dual lane up against Scandal, so they're going to have an experience disadvantage. But overall, as long as they can make sure that Scandal isn't too overwhelming in a 1v1 situation, because Leshrac is pretty good against that Windrunner, with the fact that Edict goes through the Windrun, as long as he can stay in close enough proximity to him, that Earthshaker definitely could support him. But actually it looks like Kabop has different things in mind. He sees the dual lane mid, and he sees that he probably wants to be able to make sure that this lane isn't their most successful one, because honestly Invoker's not amazing against in a 1v2 situation, based on the fact that he doesn't have any escapes. Ooh, a big Fisher block coming out. He's going to take tower damage. He's going to have to leap across. That's going to take out half his mana right there, and if he had kept on walking, the Sunstrike would have just gotten the first blood really easy there. It's a nice play by Kabop and Cinderin, hiding in the trees over here. They didn't even see that he was up here until they could get the Fisher across, and I was just Kurokai giving him a little bit over aggressive. He's probably going to change his playstyle a little bit based on that. But and then we got a 1v1 on bottom with Santa versus Tinker. Actually went boots first, so he's not going to be worrying about too much. I did miss the first blood. Enchantress came and ganked with two really good creeps. The Ursa Warrior, or Champion, and the Centaur combined together, getting a lot of slow, a lot of stun, and taking out that Windrunner. I'm not sure if she had Windrun on cooldown, or just didn't respond to the creeps fast enough, but one way or another, they got the stun, they got the Edict, and they were able to take it down pretty quickly. But yeah, so Earthshaker covering mid, actually catching Lich out, which is interesting because he's just going to pick up a regenerate anyways. Not that big of a deal, but I guess they just wanted him to be in a more vulnerable position where Faceless Void was without that support for a short time period. Just a bit of a nuisance more than anything else, but an interesting play nonetheless. Faceless Void out of regeneration at this point, used all his tangos. I'm not sure, he might have only purchased those because he does have quite a bit of gold to farm at this point. Running Kurokai's got 9 CS at this point and 4 denies, which is great against the Invoker. Very experience dependent hero, and if you can get as many denies in as possible early on, he can stop Invoker from being too destructive with these different invocations. So right now, Synderen only sitting on level 2. Experienced sap coming from the Earthshaker, along with the Sacrifice, denying as much minion or creepy XP as possible. So doing really good in that respect, making sure the Invoker doesn't get too out of control, where yeah, that he's only going to be level 3 at the moment. Running 2 points in Exhort right now. He wants a really powerful Sunstrike, doesn't even worry about Cold Snap right now, because he knows that Fisher is going to be all the stun he really needs. Enchantress just jungling effectively right now. Does have one ward up. Actually, it looks like that's the only ward on the map other than this one, which covering top rune. So both wards covering top rune, but that's all that really going back and forth right now. And Lesh ranking Edict and the stun, and it looks like Enchantress trying to get a side gank. Depends if she can get that stun, but Windrunner activates Windrun as soon as she sees them coming through and make sure that she's covered there. Good map awareness and good preparation for that. She does get the slow, but the stun is going to be just out of range. That Centaur's going to take too much damage. And he can try, but he's going to miss. He's not going to be able to hit her. And she gets another Windrun off and is actually able to kill the Centaur as well. So Virtus.Pro not really be able to get much out of that. Windrunner is coming back through though, but Scandal's not able to get enough damage on her. Does do a nice stun, but she did not run north. She kind of kept along that, skirted along that south side there, so that was good. Good positioning by her. And so Enchantress resumes jungling, gets the wildcard, and she could actually opt to Tornado or something like that, but ooh, nice Sunstrike damage on Kurokai at this point. Even though he has his ring his health, he's going to have to pop his salve, because that's just some long-range harass damage it does at this point in time. You're looking at 162 true strike damage. It's kind of a snipe. A lot of people consider this a situational spell, but in the hands of Synderen, he's really good at lining up, and there's actually a good Fisher block as well. Kurokai is stuck in this spot, cannot walk through here, and so he's kind of has to opt for being in this more out of position area. As far as the bottom lane goes, Tranquil Boots on Beastmaster, he's just kind of trying to survive against this Tinker, who's got that long range harass with the missiles, and he's going for March of the Machines build. So he's going to be, once he gets his Boots of Travel, he's going to be very mobile, and he's got just a lot of Enigma stun going in on the Beastmaster and some missiles going out, but nothing more going to come of that really. Soul Ring on Enigma as well. He actually wasn't really thinking about where he was laning. He was doing the jungle, and he just happened to be in this position. I'm not sure how he got there, if he was over in the outpost or what, but it's an interesting area to be in there. But doesn't really, not too much came of that. Just making sure Tinker is running smoothly. He's at 1270 out of his 2,000 gold. Actually, he needs 2,500. He still needs the base boots, but then he can get his boots of travels and really start his mobility. Illusion Rune gonna go to the Enchantress most likely, unless Lich wants to pick it up. Nope, and she's looking to gank on the Windrunner most likely. So Leshrac having a fun time right here. He's got 3/3, Edict and Stun, and Windrunner's only level 5, barely into it actually. And now Enchantress trying to come out and see what she can do with this. She's only got 12 seconds left on this Troll Warlord, so she needs to use it now. And that with the Edict and the Stun, even with that Shackle, nice Shackle, but just too much damage coming out. And Scandal's able to get another kill on Windrunner. So 2-0 for VP at this point. It was a nice Sunstrike coming, trying to do some damage to Scandal, but it just wasn't gonna do enough to change anything there. So Synderen's actually, Tinker did get a kill on Beastmaster at this point, but just Rocket March the Machines with a Black Hole used really early on against that Beastmaster, which is, even though he had the Hawk here, and he was most likely able to see Enigma go by, he wasn't really expecting him most likely to use the Black Hole, and so by the fact that he used that so early on, he was able to get the kill. But that's not too much of a loss. If solo Black Hole this early on, as long as it gets the kill, it's not a waste, because you're not going to really be able to get a crazy team fight ultimate Black Hole anyways, especially with regular boots and no Blink Dagger. So it's a good pickup, getting Tinker that bit more feed and putting a kill on the board for mTw. So that's that benefit there. Sunstrike going out. He does time walk over the Fisher there, and obviously the Sunstrike completely missed there. But overall, good block, and it is forcing Kurokai to stay on his feet, because every single one of those time walks costs 1/2 to 1/3 of his mana, somewhere in there, and it is not what he wants to be doing playing as defensively as that. Kurokai really enjoys to just farm aggressively and just do some, maybe get like a Midas early or something like that, and be able to, even though he's a hard carry, still apply some early pressure. Picks up his ulti at level 6, so he does have that available if they do want to try to go on Invoker or something like that. They know he doesn't have a Wex, he is maxing Exhort first, and so he probably won't have a Wex until maybe level 8, something along those lines, and that's only if he really wants to play defensively with that Ghost Walk, which would allow him to go invisible. And obviously there's no detection right now. Invisible Lich on the middle lane, no Earthshaker support. They're looking at Smoke ganking top, so stuff's going to be coming in a little bit here with the ultimate from Kurokai and a little bit of harassment from Lich. They're actually not going to go on it, just do a little bit of harassment. And now the smoked up Enigma, no black hole, but he does have rank 3 Malefest, so there's going to be 2 stun procs from that, and they're going on the Enchantress. They saw her. And now with second stun proc and then big Fissure block. Oh, does not block her, but the Sunstrike is going to be tons of extra damage. And a shackle to the creep as well, that's always fun. But, got Scandal coming in on the Leshrac. Now lands a nice stun with the Satyr from Enchantress. And the amazing amount of damage from that Edict. Just going to be able to knock him out pretty quickly. And Lich finishes his job despite the Eidolons taking, wow, down to 12 HP on Leshrac at that point. Even you blowing a Split Earth just to make sure that he doesn't take any more damage from that, and TPing home, so he doesn't have to worry about the Sunstrikes, which I'm sure at this point Invoker is trying to look for, even though he's harassing down Kurokai. But yeah, really good positioning for Lich with this fast MS. He's a very mobile hero early on, even without Tranquil Boots, which he just he's going for Headdress, so he's going to go for a quick mech, and just the fact that he was able to come up here where the Radiant team does not have any vision. They only have they did have the counter ward up over here and the standard ward, so Leshrac freely able to roam top, get that kill in the Windrunner, and they weren't able to like just say do a long range power shot on the fleeing Leshrac. So that was a good play there, and got a lot of kills out of it. You honestly often don't even see this this quick of a Pulse Nova ultimate on Leshrac, but he used it very effectively there against the Windrunner because she's immune to physical auto attacks, but the Edict, the split, all of his spells are still going to be able to affect her. So that's just a lot of damage coming out, and with her low HP, only 758, they were able to do a lot to her. There's actually so much that she has been driven to the bottom lane, where she's going to farm in place of the Tinker. Tinker, on the other hand, with his Boots of Travel, sit in the fountain, jump out the lane. Use the Soul Ring, use the ultimate, and keep on pushing. So he's very mobile, he's all over the place. He can do Marksman Machines or 2, and then go wherever he wants. He saw the Cinderin did have vision on that, and there's Fissure, there's everything blown out, and gonna take out that Enchantress, as she is way outside of her safe zone there. Danger zone. So anyways, do have Leshrac freely about to push the top tower. A lot of damage from the Edict. They do pop the Glyph of Invulnerability immediately, because this Edict does 50 damage per pulse, and it pulses a ton of time. I mean, it says, what, 32 times on a random target in the area. So if there's no creeps coming north here, if it's just completely the tower alone, it's going to do a huge amount of physical damage to push down that tower really quickly. So they used their fortification, didn't want any of that, and now Tinker is defending and then TPing back. Pretty much what this Soul Ring accomplishes, he got the Soul Ring really quickly even before his BOTs. Not only does it give him good lane sustainability and doing some damage, and a Fissure onto Face's Void, not to get a kill, just to do some pain in the neck stuff, but this Soul Ring keeps on refreshing every time he ultis, and since it gives 150 mana and the ultimate costs 150, what it effectively allows him to do is ulti for free. He just pops that every time he ultis, and more damage from Leshrac. He's going to be looking for the tower kill at this point. No deny, he finishes it off, and that's a nice chunk of gold for the Dire team, along with the fact that Enchantress gets a kill on Invoker, which is, you know, when he's level 7, that's a lot of good experience, even if it's split 3 ways. So that's a good kill to pick up, even if you're going to use the Beastmaster Roar for it. Lich still has his ultimate up, but he has taken a lot of damage, and Power Shot finishes him off. So there you go. He's knocked out. No, it wasn't able to use his ultimate. Did pick up his buckler, and Enchantress gets caught out with Malphite stun, and takes one last hit to go down too. So, yeah, that's a couple of clean kills for mTw to respond to the tower kill and the kill on Invoker. You may be looking to Sunstrike somebody as they're fleeing. Scandal is pretty low, but doesn't seem like they're just going to focus on pushing the bottom tower. And Santa makes back safely. TP out. Alright, so Tinker bouncing around, constantly bottling while he's in the fountain since it refreshes immediately anyways, and he just gets to bounce out to the other lane, farm. So, although I would technically say that Faceless Void is a harder carry in the sense that if you get somebody in the Chronosphere, he can just obliterate them in a matter of seconds if he gets a lot of farm. Tinker with a lot of gold is not bad either, because he can just, not only is he farming extremely well by jumping and killing all these creep waves, but also he gets a sheep stick or something like that. His rearm's going to allow him to just sheep this void over and over and over. So he's going to have a fast BKB after he finishes off this Battle Fury. 14 minutes, he's got the Claymore and the Ring of Health. A little bit behind for what Kurokai usually is able to farm up, but overall it's still going to be effective. He's going to get it, about 20-21 minutes, unless he dies or gets Cure kills, in which case that completely throws it off. But he's still going to get it in time to be relatively effective, especially if his supports are able to stack the camps and allow him to farm that much faster. Nothing going on up there. So they're looking at top middle lane. They got a TP support coming. Tinker coming in with his boots travels on the creeps here, and able to just do some more harass and some more creep shutdown with this permanent march of machines going on. Yeah, Sunstrike actually nice. It did split between the creep here and Faceless Void, but it wasn't able to do a nice amount of damage. Gank coming in. Windrunner's not going to have any of that, and she falls back immediately with a Windrun. But they are going to be pushing middle lane, and there's not much they can do about it unless they get some more support in here. Lich can't touch this. There's too many creeps, and they're gonna take it. Deny attempt, but Enigma gets the kill with his Eidolons, I believe. Yeah. Okay. As far as wards go, this one's about to expire, but it was a nice lane ward on mid, and it still is because of the fact that this tier 1 tower is up. But Scandal's just happily farming, trying to go for his Bloodstone relatively quickly. He does have the Arcane boosts, so pretty much he's got all 3 components of the Soul Booster, and he just needs to get his Perseverance to finish off that Bloodstone, then maybe pick up Phase Boots or something like that. Meantime, Santa does have a Soul Ring at this point. Soul Ring, Tranquil Boots, nice combo for mobility and for just mana and health. But pretty much what he does is he just, at 51, like I was saying before, he can stack these, or in this case just attack them and kill them. And as he stacks them up, his axes can just AoE them down for 180 damage. I believe that's per axe. Yeah. So that's a lot of damage to the Ancients, and that allows him to get the gold that he missed out when he was losing the lane down here. Along those lines, Mech finished up on Enigma, so nice support there, and he's got a cloak. I don't think he'll be going for a pipe. Most teams don't like to have a pipe and a mech on the same hero, especially when you've seen F-King Mad with a Blink Dagger. It can do some really awesome stuff with black holes there. But they do take up another tower, so we'll see what he's going really shortly. In the meantime, Cinderin probably going drums. Got his Bracer there, and he's got enough of that if that's what he chooses to go for. Force Staff actually in Tinker, so just for kind of mobility, it's a good way of getting out of Faceless Void ulti, or even better, avoiding the Lich Chain Frost. You have the Frost, you see the Frost singling you out and going for you. You just Force Staff away from your teammates. It'll hit one more time, and then you won't have to worry about it the rest of the fight. So, a lot of damage, March Machines and everything like that, but they're going to initiate in. Enigma does get ultied by Beastmaster. He does pop his mech just in time and gets a little bit of a black hole off, but the big thing is Echo Slam, dropping down a couple people. Really long range. I bet Invoker really wishes he had Sunstrike right now, but the power shot goes wide, and Enchantress and Leshrac are probably going to live from that. Kurokai, farmer mid, and Tinker's going to harass him away from that. But overall, really well laid out team fight. I'm really guessing that Enigma didn't wish that he had not wasted that black hole in that location, because it was literally a millisecond of damage. But at the same time, they did win the fight. I think I'd be happy about that at the very least. So at this point, Invoker's going to be getting a couple more points in Quas, maybe one in Wax, depending on how defensive he wants to play and how versatile he wants to play by getting those extra 6 spells to play around with, or is it? Or extra 4 spells to play around with. But right now he's going for 4 quals and 4 exhort. What that allows him to do is double his forged spirits, so he gets twice as many. Oh, nice Sunstrike, nice Fissure, nice Power Shot, a lot of damage, and if the Cold Snap is up, but the spirits are just going to heal just enough. Nature Attendance, rank 4 on a single target has a really high heal potential. But now Time Walk just got stunned out, and now he's going to go for the southeast towards Roshan. Gets stunned actually on Roshan. This is funny, but he's just trying to get away from there as fast as possible. Almost actually blocked him in with Roshan. If he had just been a little bit closer, that would have been a full block, and his Time Walk would have been on cooldown, would have been taking a ton of damage, possibly dying to a neutral. But they do not actually get the kill on that. Like I was saying, Forged Spirits are now invoked. There's only one of them right now. But actually, he's going for stats. He's going for Ultimate Orb, maybe for a Sheep Stick. Not even worrying about the drum at all. Enchantress slow going, and the Face of Void ultimate, along with the Chain Frost, bouncing around. There are a lot of creeps involved, but they're getting pretty lucky in the bounces. Takes out the Enigma, and Tinker is able to take off with the missiles. Focus down low for Shrek. People dropping everywhere, and I think that's going to be about it. But overall, mTw really coming back in this game so far. Teamfight's just been going amazingly well, with or without black holes. And they've been able to just do some really long-range damage. I mean, when you think about it, you got a long-range Power Shot, Fissure, and your Tinker Rockets coming out, and whatever spells Invoker decides to throw out, you're going to have a lot of presence. Now that he's got 4 in Quas, he's got 2 Forged Spirits. Those are going to allow him to... I mean, they're not the best creeps for pushing compared to, like, Eidolons, but they're still going to add to it, and they're going to let them get the kill instead of denying it. Mech did finish up on him, a Lich, so he's got to be happy about that. And none too soon, because they definitely need it to persist in these team fights. Unfortunately, Kurokai, he's not gotten that much more. I mean, what's his CS at? You're looking at yeah, he's got 100 last hits. I mean, he's definitely farming well, but 0-1-0, he's not getting anything from the hero side of things. So unfortunately, his Battle Fury has been substantially delayed, and what that means is that it's going to be all that much harder to really make it pay off. You're gonna have to use the money you spent on Battle. You're gonna have to earn back the money you spent on Battle Fury, and then earn even more to get whatever he decides. Butterfly, Mask of Madness. I mean, tons of different options as far as builds go, but he really needs to pick up something pretty quickly. Tinker just jumping around, actually killing each other. Tinker trying to 1v1 against a Lishrak, pops his buyback, but he did actually was able to kill the Lishrak, but just barely, but then they died to the Edict immediately after. Tinker is up a bottom lane this time, so he's looking to push the tower and finish this off real quick. Did pop a buyback for that, which does cost substantially, but you're only in 21 minutes of the game. Even if he is level 15, it's not going to be the most expensive thing in the world. So he's just throwing out some March Machines, making sure this push gets shut down, popping back to base, Soul Ring Bottle, and jump right back up to top. Unfortunately, we do have a hasted Faceless Void who might have something else to say about that, and we'll see if they can actually do something with it. They do have Lich coming in, but it will be a little bit, and with that Force Staff, it really does get one bash off. And he does actually ultimate him so that Lich can get in time to cast his Q or just let Faceless Void take the hit. But unfortunately, that might be their undoing. He's got a Time Walk. He's got to use it. He's rocked in, and he's popped his Soul Ring, which gave him enough so that they can one-hit him from there, and might not have been the best option there. So Windrunner was going to support him, couldn't get a Shackle, no trees around here, and that did cost Tinker his life. So that's the second time Tinker has died recently. He died, obviously, 1v1 English Rack, bought back, and then jumped around a little bit, and inevitably died here. So unfortunately, that's cost him a lot of gold at this point. He was doing extremely well going for that Sheep Stick, but that recent events did take him much further behind, where Faceless Void has at this point finished his Battle Fury. Like I was saying that it was a late Battle Fury, I'm guessing it was on the Courier, that he only had 2 components on hand at the time, but now it is finished, and he's ready to rock and roll in these creeps, and just CSing as fast as possible, and trying to get farmed up. He's definitely the most item-reliant hero in the game at this point, and he really wants to take advantage of any farm he can get. Meantime, stuff going on bottom lane. We got just a Hawk here. I guess my minimap's showing that kind of look like a hero, but not a big deal. I guess a player-controlled unit more so. Forge Spirit's coming out, and now that's an interesting back and forth there. Tinker was going to Boots of Travel onto Cinderace's Forge Spirit because it's a summon, and he can do that. But then Enchantress used her enchant to take temporary control over it, so it actually canceled the TP, which is a little bit silly there. But now he can go where he wants and do what he pleases. But just a little bit delay in what he had in mind. Scandal has actually finished his Bloodstone at this point and he's got his wand. If he's opting for phase boots or something like that, we'll see very shortly. But for right now, that's what he's looking at. I haven't seen any drums on anybody just yet. Actually, I'll just check the full item list real quick here, and you can see, not that I can see drums, no drums in the game at all. So not really looking for that aura. I mean, it's a really good item. Usually one person from every team gets it, but generally speaking, right now they're focusing on getting mechs on the Lich and the Enigma, and going wherever they can from that. Actually, a Vitality booster on Enigma, kind of an interesting pickup. We'll see what he ends up trying to do with that. Where Invoker just finished his Sheep. That's a really big deal right now, because if you can get a good Sheep off on the Faces Void, who's nowhere near a BKB, well, actually it's halfway to it if he wants to go for it, but overall, it's going to be very, very effective to get that Sheep stick off in that team fight, especially when he can already shut somebody down with a really good Cold Snap. Obviously, the Cold Snap proccing multiple times based on the damage, so when he has Forge Spirits up, that's 3 different targets, things attacking somebody at once. All you have to do is just hit stop on one of the Forge Spirits to kind of delay the cast animation, or attack animation, and that'll make Cold Snap much more effective there. And Cinder is just a player to be able to micromanage just like that. But yeah. So he actually does go for the hood. He's not going to go for a pipe as far as I can see, or he just wants some tankability. Right now, Enigma, who's generally a pretty squishy hero, is actually extremely survivable. He's got that mech, which gives armor and attributes, 250 health, and the magic armor. So he's not really afraid of Link on Lich ulti, who really needs to get that level 11, and is probably trying to do that as fast as possible so they can defend this tier 3. But really tanky Enigma, ready to black hole and not get shut down. A couple of counters to keep in mind for that black hole. The Chronosphere goes through BKB even if he gets it. Obviously the stun from Leshrac goes and just stuns him. And then the Lich ultimate, if he targets it on Enigma, the mini stun of it actually goes through BKB, and so does Beastmaster's ulti. So I don't think Enigma's actually going to be picking up a BKB at this point. Maybe a Blink Dagger, but BKB really wouldn't counter too much out, because you still got 3 different things that can cancel it, even with that Black King bar up. Nice Shackle and Power Shot going on. Enchantress is taking a bit of her damage out, and with her heal down, that actually might give them a small opening, but it looks like they've kind of exhausted their resources a little bit, and they're playing it a bit safe. They do have Sentry Wards over in this location. Not sure if they're afraid of anything invisible, or if they're just trying to make sure that they have no vision on this high ground in this general area here. But one thing, they kind of are wasting a little bit of time while Faces Void, level 15, is able to push middle lane, and all they got is a Tinker coming in to help him out. Now he is getting pretty close to that Sheep Stick, about 1,000 away, just over, but definitely moving that direction. Illusion Rune on Faces Void, so he's just going to keep on farming. Be a happy camper in that sense. He's almost a BKB if he decides to pick that up, but he might just be saving for buyback to make sure that he can always be high presence in fights. So yeah, along those lines, Leshrac up to 2,200 gold. Needs to decide what he's picking up next. If he's going to go maybe an Ag Scepter, or like Drums is actually a pretty common pickup on him, but you would figure if he was going for that, he'd get it a lot sooner. But Faces Void got his BKB once he gets it to him, and that's what they're looking at. Really, I would say the end game is in VP's hand. They can kind of stall out, and as long as they keep Roshan under control and keep their tier 3 towers from being poked at, they can actually definitely control this and wait for their opponents to initiate. One thing you got to keep in mind, Earthshaker with his Blink Dagger, is even when you're waiting for them to initiate, once you feel like you got a perfect setup and you group on to just focus somebody down real quick, Echo Slam, major amount of damage, major amount of stun, and you could be right back to square one in the team fight. That's where they really need a pipe, and unfortunately they don't really have anybody going it, and they probably aren't going to be anybody going it. Never mind, completely missed that. But Beastmaster does have his pipe up and available, and he's going for chainmail. So whether he goes for, there's a couple different things you can build with chainmail, but we'll see in a little bit. But he actually did get that pipe up surprisingly fast. I guess he's been working on these ancients quite a bit, because overall that's a really nice time pipe, 28 minutes for somebody who went and had such a hard time in bottom lane. Now just looking, Sunstrike going out, just checking out, kind of getting a good feel of where people are at. But if you're looking at the CS real quick, Cinderin's got 105, Enigma 162, Tinker just shy of 200, and everybody else is pretty basic. Earthshaker netting only 20. Decent amount of damage coming out on Beastmaster, but I think he's going to be alright with that pipe. A lot of mitigation for magic damage coming out, but he is going to be driven back. They might look at that as an opening for the tower here, especially with these Eidolons to push it. I don't think they're going to go all in for the tower, but they're going to try to do just a little bit more damage, bring it down gradually. One great thing about these Forge Spirits is you keep on, I think it's their Quas that you rank up high enough. It's one of the two orbs, and if you rank it up high enough, their attack range actually is higher than the tower. So for tier 3, it's as long as you have a way of seeing it, you have a way of shooting it, and that can do a lot of annoying little poke action there, kind of trying to bait out initiation by the opposing team, which is really what would benefit them. Is okay, Liche is going for a drum, but if the opposing team does initiate, that's when Earthshaker and Enigma really shine, is getting them grouped up, getting them destroyed. So pipe on Enigma at this point, along with the mech. This is I mean, obviously he's their primary support, other than Earthshaker, who just finishes up his blink. But one thing I will mention is that having a mech and a pipe on one hero means that if you shut down this person, let's say with a Beastmaster ulti or a Chronosphere, and you burn down this hero before he can pop his black hole, before he can pop any of his items, you're gonna win. You're just gonna destroy that team fight, because there's just so much that hinges on this hero here. And looks like, although they are doing a lot of damage with the marked machines, that Tinker is gonna fall back. Mana up. I thought he might do some counter pushing action, but he's comfortable with what's going on here, and he just wants to keep on doing pressure on this tower. Beastmaster ulti, they actually are going to have to force this at some point. Nice Fisher coming out, blocking off, but it does have a BKB Kurokai coming in with the Lich ulti, bouncing in between over and over. Nice Chronosphere, going across, a lot of damage. Mask of Madness just wailing away at those heroes, and with this Time Walk, he's probably going to be able to catch up to this Windrunner. She has to land a perfect shackle at this point, and he's not lining her up for it. So, but Santa certainly is. So, let's see here. Got a slow on her, but her Windrun did just come up. Force staff. She needs to do it. She needs to force staff. Miss uphill with the impetus, and she is not gonna die. She makes it out, safe and sound. They did lose that team fight rather substantially, because they were just in they weren't in a bad position necessarily, but they weren't able to get their big ultimates off. Enigma, I didn't see him pop mech. He did have the pipe up in advance, so that was on cooldown. I didn't see him pop the mech, and he definitely didn't get his black hole off. Same with Earthshaker. They got caught up either in the Chronosphere or just in general initiation with the Beastmaster ulti, and they were able to take him out really, really quickly. So really nice play by Virtus.Pro. Taking advantage of that situation, focusing on exactly who they needed to at the exact right times, and a little bit of luck involved, chaining that Chain of Frost across over to the Asterios that were stuck in the ultimate. So that's a nice play, and it's going to kind of cost mTw, since I said before, the end game definitely goes the way of VP if they can just get that EXP and gold advantage. They do have the XP advantage, and that has a lot to do with the overall aspect of their lanes, with Enchantress jungling so aggressively and things along those lines. But the gold advantage still currently lies with the Radiant team, mTw. But that's mostly Tinker farming across the map, getting those creep kills instead of throwing them away to, I would say, neutrals, but non-player creeps. So he's taking advantage of that, and the gold has been going their direction. But you see it coming back now with those team fights. Pipe does pop up on Beastmaster. He's just trying to make sure he gets out. Ton of negative armor, -6 armor, but he still has plenty to it with that chainmail and all that. and I believe the Tranquil Boots. I'm not sure. They wouldn't have been active, really. But Sheepstick does get finished on Tinker. So what they really need to focus on doing is either baiting out BKBs on this Faceless Void and falling back, or at least surviving effectively long enough until they can do all these sheeps on them. Organizer Sheepsticks. Now they are initiating with the Beastmaster ulti, but I don't... Okay, here comes a Chronosphere. He's kind of all by himself right now. Lich is going to come in, but Black Hole lands on the Faceless Void. He is disabled for the duration. Echo Slam, pretty good Echo, but it's only rank 1, so he's not going to actually be able to do enough damage. And Kurokai just barely... Oh, Deafening Blast just barely knocking him out with Cinder in there, but he does get killed and does drop, and Leshrac going for the stun. He's going to try to TP out, but it's slim. Force Staff, he is slowed, and that last auto attack will take him down with Leshrac going for a double kill. So they did end up picking off the Faceless Void, but overall they just another team wipe, and now they're going to take Roshan, free Roshan pretty much because they don't have to worry about anything going on there. A lot would debate just taking a tier 2 before they take Roshan, but you also have to look at the creep positioning. I mean, the tier 1 would have been pretty easy, I'll admit, with the 153 HP, but they can probably still do that whether if they want to or whatever. But you have to look at creep positioning with them having been just right over here. They're going to have to push the lane through, and that's just going to be too time inefficient. So they're happy to take Roshan, get that Aegis freely on Faceless Void, and then get a quick kill on mid, and then go back to kind of their turtle type strat, where they just let this Faceless Void farm as much as he needs to. Kurokai just burn him down. And Malefice actually on the bird makes that Enigma really, really vulnerable. He has nothing to go up against this. With the start off with the Beastmaster Roar, now just permabash from this Faceless Void with the Mask of Madness. And that's just another quick kill on the Enigma before Tinker even gets up. A little bit overextended. And yeah, not exactly the best play by fucking Mad. They really need to get some defensive wards going on. It's got team fight kind of thing going on. Fisher and some cold snap damage on him, but he's just backtracking quite a bit. He's getting more and more survivability. That's what makes him so scalable. Dodges 25% of all damage. 100% didn't dodge that, but overall he's able to mitigate a lot of damage just by taking no matter what it is, power shot, tinker, nuke, whatever. And he's going to actually initiate. He's got the Chronosphere. Nice force staff by Windrunner. He's going to try to go for a shackle. Sheep is on him because he does not have BKB, but the entire team's on Invoker. He's going to get knocked out. And there's the burst damage from Tinker. Burn him down. Now, hopefully they can get another Sheep or just at least be able to back off, but the Aegis did pop, and he does get, there is a kill on Earthshaker at this point. So, VP in a very aggressive, very high potential position. He did finish his Blade Mail, and he does have the ultimate backup, so they can continue freely pushing this tower. It's 5v3, they got an ulti or two, and they're ready to rock and roll. Tinker did come back. Did he buy back? Check that, but he is back in the fray. Nice shackle, but it's just going to delay the inevitable tower kill here. Lich does pick that up, and Beastmaster, right before he drops, gets a roar on the Enigma, who still doesn't have his black hole up. Nice force staff and mech and pipe, so he will live, but just pulling him out in that extremely vulnerable position. Shackle going on Kurokai, and the burst damage from Shackle Shot or Power Shot Enigma, and Tinker going with both his skills. Just knocks out that Kurokai really quickly. Generally speaking, you don't burst down a Faceless Void that quickly, but he's not running Strength Treads, he's running Agi Treads, and he just was really unlucky in the RNG there. I didn't see a single backtrack on all those very high damage nukes. So he got wasted really quickly, and just got picked off. However, it's not going to really put too much of a dent. He's already got a lot of farm, and the one thing he's really got to worry about is the fact that his BKB only has a 6-second duration at this point. He's used it 4 times, and it is at this point a lot less effective. He's only going to be immune to magic for that duration of time, and that's when the sheep sticks start being really painful, whether they're rearmed from Tinker or they're just one front coming out from Invoker, along with his cold snap. Cindering kind of keeping up with what he's been doing the long-range stun strike, Forge Spirit, and Cold Snap. He can do kind of like a Meteor Deafening Blast type thing, but with the limited Wex, it's not going to be as effective as it could be. And that's really only if there's an amazing black hole, then that AoE damage is going to be great. But honestly, Funky Man's been trying, but he's got no Blink Dagger, and he keeps on being the primary target for VP. They're staying focused right on him, as they should be, and he's not been able to really get too much off. So it's been kind of on an Earthshaker. to really get the counter initiation off. But when you look at it, he got one of the best Echo Slams, 3 heroes and a couple creeps right in this area here, is only rank 1. So it did hardly any echo damage, and it just wasn't nearly enough, especially with a BKB Void. Now, Virtus.Pro getting more aggressive, kind of being less Turtle-esque and more, we want to start taking towers and start snowballing our advantage in our direction, but they do have to watch their tier 3 as it has just dropped at this point, and they're starting to put damage into their racks at this point. So Tinker's going to go back. He has exhausted a bit of his health and mana. He's going to recharge real quick. Did sell his bottle, but he's got so much mana regeneration from the Scythe and Force Staff that he really isn't too concerned about that. And he's going to jump back in just a few seconds. Do have a really big creep ball coming in from mid, and it is going to be inside tower range, so it's not going to be as big of a threat. Kurokai farming up, taking their ancients, and just using delay while his teammates just use delay tactics on him. While he tries to get as much farm for this next team fight as he can. Does pick up a haste, continues doing exactly what I was saying. While mTw tries to poke in, really wants these racks and really needs to get these racks because every minute counts at this point. It's about to hit the 40-minute mark, and that's when Faceless Void's going to be even doing more and more than he has been. So Shackle does land up between the two, but it looks like they're just continuing to do long-range harassment. No Blink Dagger from Enigma, and they're not grouping up for the Fissure, or the Echo Slam, because it is a much smaller radius than the Black Hole is. So really, there was not too much concern. Now they get to choose the initiation, they get to choose when they want to go in, and now they got the Beastmaster Roar, and a Faceless Void ultimate with the Impetus going out, taking out Tinker, no chance at all. Just completely and utterly stuck. They could have tried to mech pipe him. Maybe they even got it off, but it's just too much damage, too much single target focus, and there's just nothing they can do to counteract it. Along those lines, it's great that the Enigma is so tanky, especially when he's been this focused. But when he doesn't have any mobile initiation, it's all up to Kebab, and he hasn't been able to set anything up just yet. Along those lines, if they can't run these extremely powerful ultimates, they might as well call GG, because this Faceless Void is getting worse and worse of a problem for them. He's going to be looking at a Butterfly or something along those lines, and it's going to start causing them a lot of grief. Actually goes for Demon Edge, looking at the MKB, goes through Wind Run, so actually a really good pickup there for 100% of the True Strike, as well as the fact that his scale is based on his attack speed, which is amplified by Mask of Madness. So he's just going for huge amounts of burst damage, and just creating wreaking havoc once he gets that Chronosphere up. Lich should be at, he's at rank 3 ulti at this point, just hit level 16, and that's going to provide even more for him. Actually brought the Vladimirs, so you're looking at 16% lifesteal combined with the 17% that you get from Mask of Madness, and Faceless Void's just going to be going more and more for a Glass Cannon type build, because he's going to be attacking away extremely quickly, and if he's not hardcore focused by, let's say, Cold Snap or other primary disables, then he's gonna lifesteal through the damage, and lifesteal and backtrack for that matter, through the damage, and just result in a lot of devastation for the enemy team. Now they do have this nice Hawk scouting, but unfortunately there's a smoke up on all of these members. Even the Forged Spirits have smoke up on them, so although they think they know exactly what's going on in this area, they're about to get an unkind surprise. And here comes some Sheepstick initiation from the Windrunner. He comes out. A BKB pops on the Shrek, not for much longer, but it is enough to take out the Windrunner. Big Black Hole, taken down 2, along with an Echo Slam from the Earthshaker, but the Lich ultimate all over the place, and here comes the Lifestealer. Doesn't even have to pause the BKB, just Mask of Madness, catches 2 or 3 in his ultimate, and just finishes him off. At this point, double kill for Faceless Void. His gold, he's looking at 480 GPM, and he's just at this point showing no mercy. He's able to come in, second half of the team fight, doesn't have to be there at the start, leap in, ultimate, and take out anybody that's in that Chronosphere before they can even call GG. So at this point, obviously mTw is not one to concede early. They definitely want to try to hold position, and they do have chance of coming back, but right now, 27-14, everything's in favor of Virtus.Pro, and they're going to be pushing the racks pretty easily right here. As far as buybacks go, Invoker's not going to bother. The winner is already back up. and Tinker cannot afford it. So with that in mind, they're going to have to let the mid-Rex fall and just play it out after that. Roshan timer respawning just about a minute, but they're going to rotate top. They're not going to let it fall at just the Rex. They got their Beastmaster ulti about to come back up. BKB is up. It's only 5 seconds, but 19 Bloodstone charges means pretty much unlimited mana for that Lishrak at this point. Burning down Windrunner, no time at all. Beastmaster ulti, and then popping damage on the Enigma, who really can't do anything about it. Everything's on cooldown, and although they're not perfect on health, oh, here comes some burst damage from Tinker, but here comes in the Faceless Void, Permabash plus Lich ulti, and he's out in no time at all. Scandal is getting hit by Kabab pretty hard, but he's not going to be able to finish it off, and then Cinderin calls GG go next. So, well played to Virtus.Pro. We're able to let Kurokai farm up and focus on their 4v5 team fight, and synergizing their ultimates until they were able to pull it off with the farm and take them out. 23 Bloodstones on this track. I would really like to see him. 37 mana regen out of Fountain. So yeah, he has pretty much unlimited mana. Cast turn off Pulse Nova once a few seconds every minute, but overall, Aghanim Scepter, Boots of Travel, 23 Bloodstone and a BKB. He's gonna be doing just as much damage in team fights. Not as much, but almost as much as his Faceless Void. And here come the Sanjin Yashas. So, good game for Virtus.Pro. Dire wins, and that's the end of game 1. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been actually one of my first recordings of any kind of casting presentation, so I am either you're looking at an archive, or right now I'm just going to be posting this up in the near future, looking for some constructive criticism, trying to help me out, become a little bit better caster. I'm going to work on my energy and focus a little bit in team fights and that kind of stuff. But overall, just really wanted to get into this casting thing. Love Dota, and any advice, constructive criticism, leave them in the comments below. You can if you're looking at this through any other embedded or anything like that, do have a Dota channel out, and this Blazecast. And thanks for watching, and catch you later.